Okay, welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for inviting me. What's going on?
Definitely. Nothing much, man. Like the first thing I want to start asking you is like, when did your passion start to make songs, and who were some of the bands you loved listening to?
Hmm. At a very early age, I had an older brother, Lenny. He's 5 years older than me, and so he would buy all the records, and so I got into music, in the late '60s, and but the passion to play drums happened in kindergarten when they had this. There was at recess they'd have this dirty box in the corner, and you'd go pick out a plastic toy instrument to march around the room. And I would always get like sand blocks or something that made a rhythmic sound. I didn't like anything you had to blow into. So that's how that started.
Oh wow, nice. And
And then in third grade, my parents got me a drum teacher, and that's how it went.
okay, okay, nice. And when did you start playing like live gigs, live shows?
Young, like 11, maybe. Again, my older brother he played in a band. They were called the Injections. And
Oh wow,
so
like that.
I played a lot of weddings and bar mitzvahs and all that kind of stuff on weekends as a kid, and even going, in junior high school and stuff. So I never really had to work at Burger King or any of those places. And so I started playing live at a very young age, which gave me a head start on a lot of musicians because, you learn how to listen to other musicians, and, it's important to play live and pick that up. So that was kind of cool. And we also
Yeah.
play in the Catskill Mountains in New York, do shows up there. So I was very young when I started. I had this ABC card that let me get into bars when you were underage drinking. You had to have, you had to have this card to get into the places. So
Okay. And and was drums like was that the one thing you always wanted to play? Because I see you play a couple other things too, right?
well, I play other instruments now a little for writing, for songwriting, little keyboards, little
Okay.
guitar, bass, because you got to play something to write songs. So, but no, drums was, I guess kind of it. That was my instrument for years and years growing up. And, you know, I think like a year out of high school, uh, my girlfriend at the time met Alice Cooper's drummer on a plane to Germany. And Neil invited us over to his house in Connecticut. I'll never forget that. And we took a train out there and he picked us up in his Bentley with like dark green mirrored sunglasses. And we had lunch there, and he took me in the basement with all these drums he had. And then he said, "Oh, I got to feed the fish." And he dug up worms and fed the fish. So that was my first introduction as meeting a true bona fide rock star. And that really sealed it for me.
Nice. And everyone knows that you were part of the world famous band.
Uh,
And how did you first see them and hear about them?
uh, everybody heard the Ramones early on, but I first saw them again, I think in 1975. I took my friends and from high school, and we were all listening to Yes and all that arena rock stuff. And in Dover, New Jersey, I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, we gotta go to see this band, the Ramones. It's the new thing." And I remember being right by the soundboard watching them, and uh, I was very interested. It was very intriguing. But my friends were like, "What is this? What the fuck is this? Let's go." And so eventually we left, and and that was it. But I always remember seeing them then, at an early time, early in their career, and with
Yeah.
Tommy and stuff, and then ended up being in the band. What, 7 years later? Kind of crazy.
Yeah, right. How
You know,
how did how did you actually get to be part of the
just
band?
an audition. An audition. I didn't know them personally, but I knew the drum roadie, Larry,
Okay.
and we always used to hang out in Brooklyn. At the Shirts were a band at the time with Annie Golden, and they had this big house with a recording studio, 3 floors. Everybody hung out there 24/7. You can go there and always find a party. And one afternoon I was there, and Larry said, "Oh, I'm going. You know, uh, the Ramones were looking for a drummer," and he put my name in the hat. He told me about them because I was playing with a band called Velveteen at the time, and in New York City. And he told me about me, and then like 2 weeks later, I got a call from the tour manager saying come to an audition. So that's basically how it went. And you can read that whole thing. I don't know if you read my book. I know better now, but my autobiography. But it really describes it in detail in there.
No, wow. And the first the album you did with them was too tough to die, right?
Yes.
And
Too Tough to
how's
Die, Animal Boy, and Halfway to Sanity. 3 studio albums.
yeah, definitely. They were great too. And
Thanks.
when you joined the band, like I saw Joey said like you saved the band, like you were the spirit that like brought the band back, and your drumming on the live shows was so great for them. Like do you think you added like something to the band by
Was the
being the
bomb.
drummer?
Let's face it, I was the bomb. You know, uh, Tommy, Tommy got the groove going and everything, but I was a seasoned drummer, and I knew exactly what to do, how minimalistic I needed to play. Playing the Ramones show was more of an athletic position than it was, a technical position. But I kept explicit time, like a train going down the track, and it was a really powerful lineup. Plus, I started singing with Joey, so that added a new element, backing him up live, and it was fantastic. I mean, it was really good. I mean, there's no denying it.
Yeah, definitely. And the one of the songs you wrote, some somebody put something
But
in in my drink, like that's based
that's it.
on a true story, right?
Yeah. I mean, that turned out. Oh, that's my chickens over there. That turned out to be, like in the top 20 songs of all time, which was really
Yeah.
rewarding. And yeah, that was a true story. I guess most people know that story. That when I first moved to New York City, 18 years old and stuff, we didn't have no money, and so we used to go to bars, and when people went to the bathroom or get up to dance, we'd steal their drinks. So we drink all kinds of drinks. And one night I started feeling, something's wrong with me. I feel a little weird and all this, and and finally I realized, I started to realize, oh my God, I've been spiked with acid, and so then I just enjoyed the rest of the evening after I knew what it was, But
Yeah.
with being drugged, and it's something to know when you took the drug, but it's really scary when you slipped it because you didn't take it. So you're wondering what that feeling is. It's like a weird euphoria, like you're gonna die. It's kind of weird.
Wow.
So, but then it all worked out, and we had a great night that night. So I didn't have to steal any more drinks that night. I was flying.
and,
And
and
then
like,
I told years later when I was in the band, I told Dee Dee that story, and he said, "Oh my God, you should write that song." And so I did, and look what happened. And I remember Dee Dee fighting for that to be the video off the album. but Johnny really didn't want it because it was starting to give me a little attention. He didn't like when the drummer got attention, so that was it.
Oh wow. And what what was it like to make like your first solo album after leaving the band?
It was it was indifferent, I really didn't know what I was doing, I tried to create that first record as like a punk and shredder album, more hardcore, and I had Tommy Bolin on guitar, who was a real shredder. And I covered a lot of Ramones songs because I needed people to hear my voice, and uh, so it wasn't my uh, it wasn't my favorite album. I grew since then on my last two albums, with my last one, Live to Tell, being so special, and so was Cellophane. Those albums are really really good, and so I grew as an artist, and that's what you're supposed to do as an artist, and each record gets better and better, and trying to top yourself every time is difficult, but so far I've been doing it, and we'll see if I have another one in me. I'm not sure, but I'll see how it goes, you know.
Okay. And live to tell, like, how did you choose Suffocate as like the first song off off the album, like the first
Uh,
song music video too?
but there were a few. Well, the Suffocate video came from someone who's contacted me from Chile and Santiago, and he said he wanted to do an AI video for that. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And, we shot scenes here, and then he put it all together. I met him on the last tour we did there in this past November. So
Hmm.
that's how that really came about. It's hard to pick what people want to hear, You're Richie Ramone, all they want to hear is Ramone songs, and uh, I just can't do that. I don't like being in cover bands. I don't mind playing some Ramone songs in my set, but I need to express myself and my songwriting and tell my stories, what's on my chest, I mean, that to me is the ultimate prize of being a musician, writing songs and then hearing other bands cover your song, it's kind of really cool.
Oh, yeah.
So that one just came to be, Suffocate, and it was it's great lyrically. This album, Live to Tell, is a lot about mental health. If you go through the lyrics and the song titles, there's a lot about that, and just getting up every day for me, sometimes hard, and finding the motivation to do things. And millions of people struggle from all kinds of mental health issues, and I think a lot of this relates to them. Uh, Live to Tell. I don't know if you saw the album cover. Have you
Hmm.
seen the album cover?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what that is on the album cover, the artwork?
No.
Well, Live to Tell in what year was it? 2019. I was about to do a big European tour, and
Okay.
I was at the doctors, and they did some kind of scan on me, and by accident they found a 6.2 aneurysm, aortic aneurysm, that was
Oh my
ready to
God.
blow up. It was ready to blow up. They said, "You're not going anywhere. You need to take care of this because only 1 or 2% people live after that thing blows up." Maybe the years of playing and stress and all that. So I got that taken care of. And that's the photo of the x-ray. It looks like a turnip or something, but that's my x-ray of the aneurysm, that big swollen thing. Those are my veins
Oh my God.
coming from my heart. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so that was a scare for me, and that's how Live to Tell came about. And I was already, writing songs for the album, but they all started to tie in then. And I make no plans when I write a record. I make no plans that I want to make a song like this or make it sound like this. I make no plans lyrically, like I'm going to do a mental health record. None of this is planned. Everything I do is just from the heart. What happens, what comes out, there it is, and that's the way it goes with me. There's no copycat stuff involved or any of that thing. That's why it takes me a few years between albums. I can't like put them out every year. I don't know how to do that, and especially lyrically, if I like to experience things when I write about them, or just trying to make them up really doesn't work for me. I can't express it the same. So
Okay.
and suffocate. The lyric. I need a straitjacket.
Hmm.
To force me into a hug, just trying to find self-love. That's a great lyric. That was written by the lyric was written by Jula Fade, uh, who's kind of got the dark things going in her mind too. So we hooked up for 2 songs on that record that she
Oh
wrote
wow.
some lyrics for me, and so I was really happy with that. But these records really never do nothing. They're satisfying for me, and to release what I have. But there's stuff on there that could really take off. Should have gotten airplay or something like that. But to get on radio stations now, you got to pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
They're still paying money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the airplay on major radio stations. It's not like years ago. It's all formatted. And you can't just walk in a station and they'll play it. The only place they could do that is like South America or Europe, some places. But
Really?
so, but you know, I don't mind. I'm used to that now, but just creating and being in the studio is a fun thing, as well as touring. So right now I'm taking a break because my longtime drummer Chris Moy passed away Christmas night of a heart attack. He was only 38, so
Oh my God.
I'm taking a break to the fall before I find a new drummer and put the band back together.
Yeah.
And probably we're going to go to Japan, so start there.
Okay.
So still interested in touring, but that was a big setback. It really got to me. So
Oh wow. Yeah, I know that's really young.
I mean, these people in your band are like family. They're family.
Yeah, exactly.
We just got back from South America 4.5 weeks together every day. Like every day and night and playing and then I'm home for like 3 weeks and I get a call from his fiance that he died. I was like, oh my
Hmm.
God. So it's very, very, very difficult. And, he was so proud to be in the band,
Oh
that
yeah.
he worked so hard to be in, he was like, oh, I gave him his life. That's all he wanted to do was like tour the world. And he got that chance. And
Yeah,
then
definitely.
he just went too soon because I had a lot more places I want to take him. So, but such is life, right?
Yeah, I know.
So
That's
I'm going to
sad.
move on past that and, get going again. I didn't know if I was going to tour anymore, but I think he wouldn't have liked that. He would want me to go on still. So, you know,
Yeah, definitely. Wow. And like when you're writing songs, like do you do you just do you have anything you do special when you're getting ready to write a song? Like, do you have like a certain mind frame that you have to go into when you're writing?
not really. It's they people call it writer's block when nothing's happening, but it's really not writer's block. I remember reading that about Joan Jett. You got to put in the time. You got to go in there and actually work at it. People think like you can pull a song out of the air. I can't. You know, uh, the only time that happened with the lyrics were when my father passed, and I wrote the last time. Those lyrics I wrote in like 2 hours. They were just flying to me like he was feeding me the lyrics to the song. And but normally you know it's a long process. I'll get a groove or whatever, something what I want to do. So a lot of stuff just gets halfway finished and stuff like that. It sits there, and then I go back to it and try to finish. So that's how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what inspired you to want to write a book?
Uh, hmm. I wasn't really inspired at first. I kept visualizing my book I'd write when I'm on my deathbed. Like with intravenous going into me and writing a book, but it didn't turn out that way. I got approached from an agent, and he went and got me a good book deal. And I was like, and I asked my friends, should I do this now? And they were like, listen, do it while the iron's hot.
Mhm.
You know, in 10 years or whenever, people may not even want to know your name. So I did it, and it was very, very, very difficult to remember everything, and very hard to go through all those things in your life, the things you did wrong, and
Yeah.
just, you know, everything. Because my book it's not just a Ramones bash book, I didn't want to do one of those books. There's been a million of those books out there now. My book is more about a kid growing up in Passaic, New Jersey, from a
Mhm.
little kid, and all the things he went through to end up in the Ramones, which was really cool, and how I grew up and what I did with, I have four other siblings, and uh, so it's like one of those kind of movie books where, it could be about any kid who finds fame in a band, from a town, but getting to remember all these things, and I had to rely on different people and stuff, so it was very difficult, and
Yeah.
because you got to get all the timelines right, you know what I'm saying? So, but we did it, and took about 2 years putting it all together, and
Okay.
I thought it came out really good. It's a really good read. It's like one of those books you pick up and you can't really put it down. From what I've been told by people. So, uh,
Oh, yeah.
sorry
And
about my chickens.
that's good. You act too, like you've been in films, and the first film you actually did was a horror film, Head Cheese. And how did
Right.
how did you wind up getting involved
That's
with
another fun
horror
story.
film?
I do these autograph shows. We go sign autographs at these conventions. And a gentleman by the name of Robbie Lopez came up to me at one of these shows and said, I wanted to put you in a movie.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, well, all right. Well, what is it? And, so he was the director, and they, flew me out to Kansas City. And that was my first movie, Head Cheese the Movie, where I kind of
Yeah.
play myself, and I work in a diner, and it's kind of like a Gremlins type of movie, animatronics with puppets and stuff. So it was cool. And then he called me back to do another movie called Protege Moi a
Hmm.
few years later, where I played the vampire. And that was really cool. That was all shot in green screen.
Oh, wow.
These are all B-roll movies and stuff.
Well, yeah, yeah.
And I also did, a movie called Youthquake that'll be coming out. That was filmed way back then during COVID. So all this whole movie thing happened during COVID, And then I
Wow.
did Friday the
Yeah,
13th, Vengeance
very
2
cool.
Bloodlines. That's on YouTube. That's out. I shot another movie, 259, last year, which is The Time of Day, where I play a clairvoyant. And that's going to be coming out next month, I think. And I'm going to shoot A Boy from Below in April in Kentucky, where I'm playing a graveyard caretaker. and I have another movie called Catalyst, which is a short film, which I'll be shooting in July, where I'm finally the lead in this movie. And that's a different story, all about a man who loses his wife, and
Oh,
the struggles he goes through in these 20 minutes, 20-minute short film, uh, how he wants to be with her, So he goes through all the emotions and a very emotional thing. So there's a lot going on. I really like this acting thing because it's new to me,
yeah,
I've been in the music
definitely.
business for 50 years. So I'm learning with it and reading scripts and doing research, and people say I'm a natural, and they keep calling me back for different roles. And so,
Okay.
looking forward to more of that.
Oh, yeah. And I see, like, you're doing a lot of horror films. Is horror
Right.
something you love?
Yeah, I love horror. I mean, come on. Motel Hell, all these movies. I really
Oh
like
my
that.
god,
And
I love that movie. Yes.
I think, it's going to start to expand when I do the Catalyst movie. And Youthquake isn't a horror movie. So there's two that aren't really. But, you know, I have these cheekbones that everybody wants for vampires and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, uh, and tasting the blood that they put in your mouth is kind of fun. But the
Like,
hard thing to do is dying. People, when you got to die in a movie, it's a difficult thing to do. I really had to learn how to die. It's
oh, wow.
when you see this in the movies, it's like looks so natural, but there's a
Yeah.
technique to it that I'm still
Oh,
weaving
really?
my way through. Yeah, so I'm excited about A Boy from Below. That's Tory Jones. It's going to be filmed in Kentucky. They have Dee Wallace from E.T. in that movie, and he seems like a great guy. And so I'm excited about this movie. And so, they're all like, B-roll movies. I haven't landed my first, whatever big movie type of thing, but I still enjoy doing it. And,
Oh, yeah.
so we'll
Yeah.
continue that road when I get offered the parts and I like them. Why not? Right. Try to
Oh,
keep
definitely.
busy and, because I'm not a good sitter. I don't like, if I have to sit around too long, my head starts working against me. It's not a good thing for me. I need to try to keep active in some way because I'm a
Okay.
thinker and thinking is bad. you know. So
Yeah, like I'm a huge fan of horror films, like,
oh great.
it it's probably so much fun to actually like be in a horror film
Hmm.
and doing all different roles. And yeah,
Yeah.
horror's the best. I love it.
Yeah. It's really interesting how they do all the effects and everything and all the props and the intestines and
Yeah.
it's just really really cool, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So that all took off during COVID. So since like 2020, I've done like 6 films or 7. So
Nice. Nice.
um,
And you even did songs too for the films, for the
right.
horror
Well,
films.
we used some songs from my albums. I didn't do an original piece for any of these movies, but we've used some songs from Cellophane, and I think this next one we may use one from Live to Tell. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see the songs in there too. There's certain scenes, you know, um, that I like. So uh, I guess it's like the Ramones coming around. They did Pet Cemetery, so here
Yeah.
I am. I'm gonna I'm gonna get the acting going. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, definitely.
um, I feel blessed. I feel blessed that I'm still around and still pretty healthy, and people still have interest in my work. So that's all you can ask for in life, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I I watched the fan film, Friday the
Oh,
13th fan film. and
right,
and like it's really cool, like the scene with where you fight Jason with a
right,
drumstick.
yeah. But you see, when they cut to that scene right before that, when they're coming out of the trailer, when he's coming
Hmm.
out of the trailer, that's my song that kicks in called I fixed this. So that's my song playing in the background, which really works well for that scene. You know, but that was really interesting. All the takes with that and getting it so it would go in his eye, and we're
Yeah,
staring at each other, this close, waiting for him to go action, and you're really getting into this like he is, like I'm gonna kick your ass, and so it's kind of creepy looking at him in the costume because nobody's laughing, you can't see him inside there, you're just looking at him like whoa, and so yeah, that's a great scene. Glad you pointed that out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, I always watch all different kind of horror. And when you're not writing songs and acting, what do you like doing during your free time?
Golf. I love to golf.
Oh, okay.
So I play golf like twice a week at least when I'm, try to get out there. So, that's my fun hobby. I like to golf and fish. There's really no fishing here, but I like to golfing's like it's the total opposite of everything else. And it's something that
Hmm.
you never master. You always have to work at it to get better, and so I guess that's why I'm intrigued by it, you know. So
Oh,
I'm what am I, 9 handicap? So that's not bad. So
wow.
yeah, that's my sport. It's so
Okay,
funny with
okay.
golf though, like golf is so funny because I can't wait to get there tomorrow and putting on my golf shoes. I always say putting on the
Nice.
shoes is the best part of the day because you have so many great anticipations. You're so pumped up to play. Then if you're like, after a couple of holes, you're 3 over par and not hitting it well, you're like miserable. You can go from so happy to miserable like that. You know, so I don't know how these pros do it, but they're able to manage their mind most of the time to play well. But even they can go out and shoot, 5 under par one day, and the next day shoot 5 over par. It's a crazy game. So
Wow.
fun though.
So did you ever play golf with Alice Cooper yet? Because he's a big
No,
golf
he's a bit.
guy too.
I never really played with them. I lived in Arizona. I never really played with them. I played with when I lived in Miami with Lawrence Taylor from the Giants, the
Oh yeah,
football player, and I
yeah.
used to play with another football guy. I forget his name. Um, Brown, something Brown. I forget his first name. But anyway, yeah. So you do meet different celebrities out there on the golf you sometimes, you know. But I'm mainly a municipal track player. I have some buddies I go with. Uh, so it's fun. I like it.
Okay.
The only
And
thing I don't like is the sun, in the sun. You got to wear a big hat and put on
yeah,
sunscreen like that. Otherwise, you get all burnt up and stuff, and the sun's no good for you. So,
yeah, I know. And and like, what kind of bands do you like listening to now? Like, what kind of
mm,
of music do you listen to?
I, you know, I'm all over the place listening to stuff, like from stuff on the radio to, uh, I'm like a song guy. I'm not like a band guy. I've never been a fanboy of anything, even
Oh,
growing up. I mean, I like two drummers, Buddy Rich and John Bonham, growing up. Uh, but you know, if it's the melody that really attracts me. I know songs that I've heard the melody to, and I didn't even know the words for like 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
oh,
Like, yeah, what they were actually singing or what that actual word is. So I'm learning to change that now and actually dig in and get the words. But you know, a good song's a good song. It doesn't matter if it's country, if it's
mhm.
rock, if it's punk, if it's R&B. So I'm all over the place. I really can't answer that question. You know,
Okay.
and I'm always intrigued when I perform live because there's always local acts who perform. And if I'm in the dressing room and I hear something I really like, I'll go out and take a peek at them. You know, so
Yeah, definitely. And what kind of horror films do you like watching? Like, are there any horror films you love
well, my one
looking
of my
at?
favorites is Motel Hell. They're in the
Yes,
ground and their heads are sticking out.
definitely.
That one,
Yeah.
always is so cool to me. I've just gotten into the last 3 days because I was on Netflix watching all the serial killers, Gacy and uh, you know, Ted Bundy, and watching all these, which was kind of creepy. And the other guy who was in what's his name? The one from well, Gacy was in Chicago. Ted Bundy was in Florida. Oh, I can't remember. It was Dahmer, Jeffrey Dahmer. That was
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that was an awesome Netflix series and stuff like that. And so yeah, I'll watch any kind of horror movies. It's and learn all the kills. Everything's about the kill in the movie. Like I think there
Definitely.
were 36 kills in the movie I did, Vengeance 2 Bloodlines, which was a lot of kills, you know. But you have to be creative with the kills, and not
Mhm.
it can't just be all blood and guts, it has to be interesting,
Exactly. Exactly.
and so that's what I look for too. And you know and I guess I'm watching more movies now to learn more about acting and what's going on with there, because acting's it's an interesting thing, and you can't force it, and you can't overact. If you start overacting and make all these faces and stuff, it doesn't work. You need to be natural, you know. And so that's what they like about me. I'm very natural when I act, and it's not going to be like over animated, Maybe there's a time and place for that, but that's not what I'm after. But, you know, so yeah, it's fun. The horror movies are fun.
Nice. Nice. And I love your rings too. I got Jason on my ring.
Oh, cool. Right.
And by traveling, like you traveled all over the world. Like, is there any place you haven't seen yet that you would love to see?
I haven't been to Alaska.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, never been to Alaska. Pretty much every state I've been in, but where else would I like to go? I don't know. I've been pretty much all over Europe. Uh,
Yeah.
so, in a lot of countries in South America and Central America. So I've been pretty much everywhere now, and it's just so fun doing that and eating the food of the lands and drinking their wine. And, uh, I have kind of different friends all over the world now, So it's great. I still enjoy it, still enjoy meeting everybody. It's a grind. Touring's a grind because we're not a super band or have roadies and, all the fancy stuff of life, We're just a DIY band that just goes out and does it. So it's a lot of work, but it's enjoying for that hour and a half to be there and perform live. It's very enjoyable, to light up the people's faces, you know, we bring so much joy to people. You can never forget that, how much joy I bring people when I'm feeling down or whatever. And people come up to you and say, "Oh my God, you saved my life," and all this stuff, as a celebrity or an actor or any kind of these people, you can never lose fact of that. People don't know what you're going through and how many people's lives you've touched. I've touched many, many lives in my years, and that's really important to me. You know,
Oh, yeah,
uh,
definitely.
to not lose fact and be a jerk, or I'm just a, you know, I'm just I'm just a regular guy. Like, well, maybe I'm not so regular. I'm kind of nutty, but I'm just, I'm just like everyone else, but I just have a different job. That's all. It's a different
Yeah.
job, and you got to keep that thing. You can't be thinking, I don't put myself above anybody. That's just bad. That's bad news. And I know many people where this business goes to their head and they think they're better than people, but they're just nothing. You don't put yourself above anyone. You just have a different job, and treat people with respect. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
Wow. And
Yeah.
is there anything coming up next that you want to plug? Like any songs, any shows?
No, I don't have any shows now. Um, just look for the release of 259. It's the time of day, like 1 minute to 3 a.m. when, everything starts happening. And that's a true story of a family that was experiencing demons and stuff. So
Oh wow.
that should be coming out. Plug my website, richieramone.com, and that'll show you all the stuff that I'm going to be doing and the future tours. And so right now I'm writing some things for uh, different movies and stuff. I have a new publishing deal that is looking for different pieces of music, so I'm doing that and playing some golf. I'm still getting over my drummer's death, so I'm still not really 100% where I'm like, okay, because it's only been like 2 months, uh, but I'm getting there now, and we're going to start touring again, probably in the fall or early next year. So, and that's it, really. So, I want to thank all my fans and everybody out there who appreciates it. I still want to plug my book, which is still out there, and it came out for all the in Latin America in Spanish. So it's out in
Oh,
Spanish now. I know better now. So anyone who doesn't read English, you can get it in Spanish. That just came out in November when I was down there. So
okay.
that's exciting. And so I'm sure you could find that anywhere. And the book's on Amazon, and it's a really good read. People should read that. And I'm trying to think of anything else. I'm probably missing something, but you'll probably find it on my website. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving me a call here, and thanks a lot. I'm glad the reception worked. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. Like thank you so much for actually
Sure,
taking time and doing it. Thank you.
sure. And you didn't remind me, but I reminded myself.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I was like, "Who is this? What is this Rocco guy? He's not even going to do this interview?" And then you like text me at like 4 a.m. LA time. I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" Because I told him I'm in LA. Who's binging my phone now? Because I never shut it off. Because I'm always like the neurotic one who's dead or who needs to get in touch with me. And I look, you apologizing to me at 4 a.m. I was like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry about that.
So,
But I'm really
where are
happy
you
that
at? Are you in Kent? Where are you located?
Philly.
Oh, Philly.
Yeah.
Well, this year, the next time people can see me in New York City, I'll be at the Joy Ramone birthday bash, May 19th.
Oh,
So
all
I'll be
right.
doing that this year. I haven't done it in a few years. So that's something nobody knows but you.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I don't even know if I was supposed to say it yet, but I did. So there it goes. Anyway, so maybe if
Well,
you can get
well,
out that
since
way,
you
we could meet or something.
definitely, yeah. Like
When we get closer,
it's
let me
not
know.
far from
Maybe you
Philly.
can come out and I'll put you on the guest list and all that good stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, definitely, definitely, yeah.
That's always a
I'll
fun
definitely.
night and paying tribute to Joe. So
Okay.
it's just 200 people of the most hardcore Ramones fans go to that. You know. So, all right,
Oh,
cool. Well, thanks,
yeah.
Rocco.
Thank you. I'm definitely there. I'll definitely go.
Okay. Just
Thank
make
you.
sure you remind me again. You got to remind me on this. I'm not going to remember.
I will. I will. I promise.
Okay. All right, and peace.
Okay.
Take care.
Peace, buddy.
All right.
All
Bye.
right, you too. Bye. Oh.